Everybody's got a price for the $1 Million Man.
Who's that kid? Nick. He looks like Beaker from Muppets.
The one on FS1, Nick Wright.
Oh,
Yep.
Yeah. I got something
That's
for
amazing.
I
did not even. I love that.
If I get 5 women and they're all in the same room with me, we're going at it at 110%.
What's going on, everybody? Special edition of the Lazy Booking Podcast on A2D Radio. We're back with our semi-quarterly episode of Eagles Talk on the Lazy Booking Podcast with our old pal, Brian the Blue Meanie Heffron. What's up, brother?
How you doing, my friend? You're on a
Oh,
beautiful, chilly Monday morning. How you doing, my friend?
It is brisk, to say the least, sir, outside. But we're here, and we were supposed to come in, everybody, last week. A couple things, scheduling-wise, didn't make it happen. We thought, you know what? Maybe a blessing, because after that Cowboys game, who really wants to talk? Well, then the Eagles,
I just sat in a room and stared at a wall.
yeah, and the Eagles said, "That's okay."
I just sat in my living room and stared at the wall. And
wait till Friday and hold our beer, right? Got even better on Friday.
Yes, sir.
We want to welcome everybody in, whether you're on Facebook, YouTube, X, Twitter, wherever you're at, guys. Like, subscribe, follow, comment in. Make sure you guys do this with the A2D radio pages as well as the Lazy Booking Podcast pages and anywhere you can find the Blue Meanie, which we'll make sure we drop in throughout the show here. We are brought to you by our doctor, Dr. Paul Vidal at Specialized Physical Therapy. You can find him in Burlington and Sheridan, New Jersey, and find him on the web, specializedphysicaltherapy.com. Any aches, pains, anything brand new, anything long-lasting, anything whatever. Make sure you hit him and his award-winning team up. They'll get you in. They'll take a look at you, get you on a program to get you feeling back physically to your peak. And Brian, I mean, where do we start? I know where we start, but where do we start? We're going to go right into the offense here, guys. We're going to talk Eagles offense. We're going to talk, we're a couple weeks in after the trade deadline. We're going to grade Howie on how he did in terms of that. Are the Cowboys really a threat? I think it's something we got to look at this point. And obviously, we're going to give some quick early predictions of Eagles Chargers, and I hate to use this terminology, but man, the Eagles might have got a break by the major injury that happened to Justin Herbert. We're going to talk about that, but Brian, have fun with this one, buddy. There's a lot of blame being passed around, okay?
Yeah.
Jalen Hurts, Kevin Patullo, the offensive line is banged up. The offensive line is not as talented. The offensive line is undisciplined because of coaching. Nick Sirianni can't call plays. I mean, take your pick. Saquon can't run anymore. A.J. Brown lost his step. You tell me. Jalen Hurts should receive the majority of the blame for the Philadelphia Eagles' offensive struggles. Do you agree or disagree? And again, everybody out there, please comment in with me and Brian. Join our conversation. Let's hear what you have to say. Brian, kick us off, my friend.
Maybe it's a little bit of everything, just because, the offensive line's banged up. Cam Jurgens isn't playing up to his usual standard. Lane Johnson's out. It's mix and match. But then you got Kevin Patullo calling very vanilla plays. When our defense, when the opposite team's calling out our offensive plays, before they happen, there's a predictability factor. Jalen, he's missed some passes, but if I was looking at Kurt Warner's Twitter last night, and he's talking about just like how certain things just might be a timing issue with him. There's a play in the Bears game where Smitty's wide open, and he was a second or two off, and maybe his timing's off. But ultimately, if you're a good soldier, like Jalen is, but even though he's the leader, he's calling what the offensive coordinators. He's doing the plays that's being called for him. Um, I like to think of. I'm a big fan of the things Nick Foles have been saying.
Mhm.
Or Nick Foles, my God, he's speaking too much sense. Everybody needs to get into a room, put their egos aside, and say, "Hey, this isn't working. Let's get together on what works." I mean, it seemed like everything last year they called worked. You know, I mean, Kevin Patullo isn't that far removed from the system they had last year. Can they dive into last year's playbook and see what worked? Because apparently the plays Kevin Patullo's coming up with really aren't working. So
Mhm.
they need to have a come to Jesus meeting where they get in a room, take their egos, leave them at the door. This is what we need to do. It's I mean, it sounds like we're talking about a 4-8 team instead of 8-4. You
Mhm.
know, this thing's still salvageable. It's better to do it before it hits the iceberg. Just you see the iceberg coming, just change course. Just change course. It could be a matter of just you know people coming together, being men, admitting that what they're doing is not working, and make it work. Right now, we should be celebrating the Eagles clinching the NFC East 2 years in a row. If they would have beaten Dallas and they would have beat Chicago, they could have easily clinched by now. But now we got to sit here with the bubble guts and the lack of fingernails because we're chewing our fingernails down to the bone, worrying about, is this going to be another disaster? Are the Eagles in every other year successful team? The first year that Nick, they went to the playoffs.
Mhm.
Second year went to the Super Bowl. Next year they went to 10-1, collapsed. First round, dismissal. Next year, win the Super Bowl. So is this one of those years where they just collapse, and then
Mhm.
next year we go back to the Super Bowl? I mean, it's such a weird dynamic, but ultimately everybody needs to get into a room, talk, uh, bring Nick Foles in because he,
Why
I li-
not?
I listen to what he says. I'm like, could somebody send that feed to the offensive room there at NovaCare? But here we are.
Yeah, I see. You said like we need to get in a room, we need to change course. My problem before we hit the iceberg, what is the course? Because Nick Sirianni is not calling plays. Kevin Patullo clearly is not very good at calling plays, and honestly, I didn't like the hire to begin with. There was a lot of people that said this guy is not ready to be an offensive coordinator because he's not ready to call plays. He has zero experience with it.
Well,
And
not to interrupt, not to
yeah,
interrupt. Sorry. 'Cause I have to say this before it disappears into the ether.
I know how your brain works. I'm with you. Just cut me off.
One person, I wish I could give him credit for it, said the best course of action is to put Kevin Patullo back up in the booth.
Maybe.
Because the whole time Kevin Patullo has been in this team, he's been doing things from up in the booth where he can see the plays and see the defensive lines, lining up and call the plays. Now he's on the field. Now he doesn't have that sight that he had once before. And it could be just one simple tweak. Hey, Kevin, go back up in the booth. When the team starts doing good with somebody's in the bathroom. Hey, get back in the bathroom.
Oh yeah. Throw
Get
him in
back.
a bathroom. Throw him
Yeah,
in a bathroom. Yeah. Well,
yeah.
so listen, like he wouldn't be the first offensive coordinator to be in the booth. Obviously, we know that. My thing still is, I just don't have the confidence. I don't know if this man is qualified. I'm sure he was a good coach, but I don't know if he's qualified for this position yet. And then this is where I worry because you're right. It should be fixable. I don't know that it is because in 2023, and I'm not a compared totally to 2023 kind of guy, but I am starting to see some concerns uh, what is the most common denominator? The most common denominator to me is both times you hired inexperienced coordinators from within. I don't think there's ever going to be a Nick Sirianni coaching tree, that's for sure, because none of these guys seem to pan out as coordinators. Maybe, if you want to consider Steichen a guy, although he might have came kind of with Nick off the Frank Reich tree, but maybe Steichen, but Gannon stinks. Every coordinator that's come out of the coaching staff has stunk, and that's kind of where I'm concerned at this point. Because now we're looking at the offense, in my opinion, now catching up to the defense, because the is on the field a lot more, and it seems like it is affecting the offensive deficiencies are now starting to affect the quality of the defense on the field. I think Jalen Hurts had a terrible, terrible game against the Bears. There's no ands, ifs, or buts about it. And I know a lot of people kind of getting back to our poll before we get back into some of these comments popping up. A lot of people have kind of been nitpicking at a lot of things. When I'm looking at the overall problem here, I just want to get this in then because I want to get your thoughts on this. When I'm looking at the overall thing, and some people think I'm making an excuse, and I'm not. Jaelan needs to be better. I think not designing quarterback runs has affected the running game, which in turn is affecting the passing game. There's not enough of it, and teams are just locking in because now they know they're looking to pass the ball, right? And I just don't think that's the identity of this team as much as A.J. Brown wants it to be. But getting back to where I was going, when I'm looking at the core issue of 2025, Jalen Hurts hasn't been great, at least this later part of the season. A.J. Brown, there are times I'm really questioning the effort on the field.
Yeah.
Saquon had a lot that he did last year, but he's proven with a healthy, great. I mean, they were great, but with a healthy, decent, because even going back to his Giants days, offensive line, what he can do. I just can't imagine that the wheels have fallen off at this point. The offensive line stinks. Like Kevin Steen, he's a walking penalty. He's a walking flag. But I digress. I see the track record. Nick, if he has an experienced coordinator, can manage the team, manage the egos, which is just as important to me as what's on the field right now. The common denominator is a completely inexperienced offense coordinator. So I disagree to this poll. I think Jalen is getting a raw deal. I think recency bias makes people forget that he has proven what he can do with the proper coaching staff in place where he can be whatever you want to be. Now, I think he hasn't been good. I think the Bears game, he missed a lot of guys open. You watch that all 22 stuff, he definitely missed guys. But in fairness, the offense and the coaching is not doing him any favors to help to get guys open faster. And it's causing him to hold on to the football. But go ahead. I just want to get like am I wrong on that, Brian? Like at the end of the day, I'm going track record. These guys have proven they can they went out to 2 Super Bowls with good coaching.
Yeah. And you could just read it on Jalen's face that like, man, this is what you're giving me, and then like if he, maybe tries something on, or if he tries to call a play on his own, people, oh, he's going rogue, but there, I do see where you're coming from, there just needs to be some kind of thing where they just get together and say, look, we need to fix this. It's just what bugs me is, we're 8-4, but in the beginning of the season, we had AJ saying, "Oh, well, they're not using me," and creating that drama. There's just been so much drama around a team that's 8-4, and I'm just like, really? And then I saw somebody online say, this is the worst Eagles run of all time. I was like, brother, I lived through Rich Kotite, so this really isn't the best. We have a great coach, but he's loyal to a fault. You know what I'm saying? You know, he's you know, I don't expect him to come out and go, oh yeah, Kevin Patullo stinks. You know, yeah, I really need to
No,
replace
he's
Kevin
not going to say
Patullo.
that.
But in the background, he's got to realize, man, we got to fix this thing right now. But then again, there's always that thing of, okay, you know, somebody goes, I'm going to go quit my job. Well, what's your backup plan?
No backup plan.
Yeah, there's no backup plan. Yeah, okay,
You
we can
can't
fire,
leave without a backup plan.
you could fire Kevin Patullo, but who do you replace him with? You know,
It's not going to be
no,
Nick. Nick's not going to be calling plays.
you know, Nick. Nick was in Indianapolis. You know, when they had a really good defense. I mean, really good offense there. Sorry, but yeah, he needs to be on the sideline, spinning the plates. You know, managing, like you said, managing the egos, getting everything in line. He shouldn't have to worry about the play calls. You know, that should be up to Kevin. But yeah, how do you fix things? Do you bring in somebody to look over his shoulder? Yeah, or look over Kevin's shoulder. Go, okay, let's look at the book. Let's see what could potentially work, what doesn't work, what hasn't worked, and throw it out. You know.
How old is this person that said that this is like the worst Eagles run they've seen?
I swear, if I got to find it on. It was on Twitter last night, and I saw it, and it was somebody reputable too. I
That
forget.
the Eagles were
I'll
literally called the Pigeons from after the 1960 NFL Championship until the Andy Reid got here. Because aside from a couple years during the Buddy Ryan era, they stunk. And obviously 1980,
yeah.
their run with Vermeil. But overall, in that 30-year stretch, they were terrible. This is the golden era of Philadelphia football. Like that is like
I will
some,
find this.
yeah. I mean, that is some like entitled like that's entitled feelings to throw out something like
Names on
that.
the tip
That's
of my tongue.
crazy.
I'll send it to you. I'll send it to you. But somebody's like, yeah. I was like, yeah, man. I've lived through the Rich Kotite years where he couldn't get plays in because it rained on his call sheet and all everything got washed away. It's like, bro, we're honestly we're living in
Richie
the golden
Coco.
era. We're living in the golden era of Eagles football. Uh,
And
you know,
honestly, we didn't think it would get better than what we had in the Andy run, even though we didn't get over the top. Just the fact that every year you knew you had a chance
yeah.
and you could get deep into the playoffs. That was kind of like, ooh, this might have been our window. Not saying we can't have another window, but for like 15 years, or what was it, 14 years that Andy was here, they were so good that you didn't think you would ever really reach that kind of a consistency. And now you look at the era that you're in now, and it don't look like they're going anywhere. I mean, Eric said it too here, by the way. Eric Archer, one of our regular co-hosts here, who was unable to participate today, but he chops in. What's up, Arch? It seems like the defense is starting to feel pressure, having to keep points off the board due to the lack of offensive production.
Yeah. Yeah.
To this one, yeah, I think he's gone.
I think he's going to be a Patriot.
Which is fine. I mean, what do you get back though? Like, well, I don't, we'll go down that road another time. But yeah, I think
his former coach from Tennessee is with the Patriots, and they were clamoring for him in the offseason last year. So,
yeah,
I mean, he didn't want to lose him in Tennessee, so he might be willing to give up a little bit to get him up in New England, so they can have that familiarity again. So, I don't know.
Oh yeah, Mystic Misfits. This is certainly not the worst stretch of Eagles football. This is a cakewalk. Respectfully, we lived through years of no Super Bowl appearances. If anything, we've been spoiled. I kind of agree with that. Get an OC that's out of market. Greg chimes in. Andy never won here, so how is that better than now? So I think he's understanding what maybe he commented that in before I finished my point of, even with Andy, like before this era, we thought, oh man, this is as good as it's going to get. And then obviously we were
living in that era. While we were in that era, we're like, this is amazing.
Yeah, like you never thought it was going to get any better. Like for longevity wise. And now
Yeah.
you look at the last 5 years. And there's no end in sight. They're still extremely young. I mean, the offense is getting a little bit older. Somebody commented in like Lane missing is a big thing. Oh, he caught me mid thought. I got you. Yeah, Greg, we were talking about somebody who said this is the worst stretch of Eagles football, and that's when we were like, "What?" And then
It's driving me nuts. I can't think of the name, but
I know you'll circle back with me,
yeah.
but that's where we were at, Greg, because we were talking about they stunk for all this time. Then we got to the any point, and this is even better. So anyway, Misfit says 40 minutes on defense. Yeah, so I just what is this here? We're still going to win the NFC. I don't know, Greg. I don't know. I don't want to be that guy, but Dallas looks really good right now. Am I wrong on that, Brian?
They look all right. I think they're
All
playing.
right.
I think they're playing inspired football based on losing that teammate who unfortunately took his
That's
life.
true. Yeah.
So playing a little bit, but eventually they have to come back to earth, And who they play? I mean, they played us in a close knit game. We kind of took ourselves out of that game with stupid plays, like the kid should have let the punt go into the end zone instead of try running out and fumbling.
Oh my God, awful.
Jake Elliott makes the field goal. They at least tie and we go to overtime. There's things we did to shoot ourselves in the foot on that game. It's just and then the Chiefs. Chiefs looks like they almost had that game, and it goes to show that how difficult going to a Super Bowl can be. When you play in the absolute last game of the year, when you're the final two teams in the last game of the year, and you have that short off season to play catch up with everybody who's been ahead of you in the off season, you can end up struggling the next year. So, Cowboys look all right. I'm not going to give them their flowers just yet because they're the Cowboys. We know how this story's going to end. They're going to slip on a banana peel and, shit the bed. So, I mean, the Cowboys are going to Cowboy. They had 2 good weeks.
Yeah. Listen.
Who do they play next?
So they have chat's flying now. We're talking Cowboys talk. It was flying earlier, but they really picked up. They play the Lions, I believe, Thursday night. So there was a comment in here. Love to see all these people dropping in, by the way. Eric says if Dallas beats Detroit on Thursday, Monday does feel like kind of a must win. I think I agree because if I'm correct, and I'd have to double check the numbers, that only puts the Eagles up a half a game then. If the Eagles lose this week and Dallas wins.
How's Dallas's record on the road? This is a road game, right?
Well, they're better at home. I mean, there's
that.
no ifs, ands, or buts about that. But they've looked like a different team. I get it. People are saying they're playing the Raiders and this, that. Guess what? This team, we're same with us. We should be looking much better than we are, and we're not. We're going backwards, guys. And again, I'm not a panic, jump off the ledge type of person. In 2023, I rode that ship all the way down. I thought at some point we were on talking together. We thought at some point that it was going to click. Never did. I'm not saying it's the same thing this year, but I can't deny that it's a possibility now that I've actually seen with my own eyes that this may not get fixed until next year when there's hopefully a different coach or some roster moves. I was saying earlier, people talking about Lane. I got to be honest. I love Lane, Hall of Famer. Yeah. What he's done for this organization, you just can't top that. But he's never on the football field now. I'm starting to feel like the wheels are falling off on Lane. That might be time. Might be time to move on. At the very least, his replacement needs to be drafted this year.
Yeah. It's a shame to say. Lane has been such a warrior, just but there's a record of when he's on the field versus when he's not. And I've had that same thought where this year's draft you might have to look for Lane's, I hate saying replacing Lane because you'll never replace Lane for everything he did, but the next guy to fill that spot,
Mm-hmm.
which is those are some huge shoes to fill. But yeah, it's a shame. It's a shame. It's getting to that point. It's sometimes Jason left just at the right time. I think it's better to leave. Why you still you're still good, but then go to extra year and go, maybe I should have left last year. But yeah, yeah, I'm not panicking. It's 2 games. Uh, you know, like you said, pardon the pun, we're catching a break this week. The Cowboys go on the road. They're against Detroit, and Detroit seems to be struggling too, but we'll see what happens there. I think I think the Eagles will get the East, but it's going to be a nail biter, and then we'll send the Cowboys off to Cabo.
Yeah, I mean, I hope so. I hope so. This is an interesting question. Maybe not that interesting. Do you let Hurts rest? Jesus, for the playoffs and let McKee finish out the season to get some? No, absolutely not. Maybe the last game of the season, as per usual. Mean Metal Mike, but you don't want, especially now at this point, Brian. I think you agree, right? They are going to need every rep to figure this out before playoff time. And I'm not saying throw them out there if things get locked up before the end of the year. You throw them out there week 18. However, um, the most important thing is to get in, right. It's like in Major League Baseball, right? When you're in a must win, and down the stretch here, they might hit a couple of these must win games. It's all hands on deck.
Yeah.
There's no resting guys for Game 7 when Game 6 has such an important meaning. You know what I mean? So. Easily could have won. It only be a second field goal. I mean, they got us, but it was an anomaly. I don't know about that. Mystic Dynasty. Are you throwing in a Go Lions in this chat, buddy?
Well, against the Cowboys, yes.
Oh, geez. I didn't even pick up on that. I'm thinking he's saying like that's where we're at this time of the
Oh,
morning.
he's rooting for the Lions against the Cowboys, which will all be Lions.
Yeah, with you on that, 100%.
Yeah.
For that and because of fantasy football, it all helps me out. So let's go Lions. Run it up to 50 points this week. Roosevelt Ben. Problem is the run game. We're built to run the ball, and we can't. Offensive line's been bad all season long. But Saquon had a Pro Bowl running back 3 straight years and will win this year. Jalen is having his best passing numbers for his career. When it gets cold, you need to run the ball.
Where's Tank Bigsby? I mean, he looked like a beast, a couple weeks ago against the.
He is a beast, Brian. He is a beast.
Bryce, mix things up. The place that people think Saquon's going to run, put Tank in for that. Just like I said, there's a predictability factor, and it doesn't help that we got Chauncey Gardner saying everything. He was calling out the plays before they were happening. So there was that factor in that game. But yeah, I think things will be okay. I'm not panicking yet, but they definitely need somebody needs to pump in the Nick Foles podcast into the NovaCare, and
I mean, why not?
I mean, the guy's only also won a Super Bowl, but he makes so much sense. Just people need to get together. People need to brainstorm. This is what works. This is what sucks. And go forward. That's what real leaders do.
Yeah, 100%. A lot of talking here about replacements. Can we stop with the bench? Yes, I agree. We both agree with you, Greg. That's just crazy talk at this point.
The person replacing Hurts would be playing the same predictable plays.
It's
Yeah,
makes no sense.
yeah.
Dynasty, yes, our pal Blue Meanie here. He reeled me in and got me on your side. I just Monday morning mental lapse here for a minute there, but we're with you. Go. I know you're not Don. Wayne Miller, have both of them back there and use play action. Get this offense go. So I don't know. Let's talk about the changes we've had since then. The Eagles went out. They went and got Jair Alexander, which was a complete and utter waste because he apparently has, and I'm not knocking mental health issues.
Right.
Something not going on between the ears. But in terms of an actual on-field acquisition, I don't know how this didn't come up ahead of time, and I don't know if this is
I don't know. I don't
it
know
sounds
how.
like there's been issues with this guy ahead of time.
Yeah, I don't know how Baltimore didn't know about this and how they would willingly trade somebody they knew wasn't going to be able to play for the Eagles. There's something about that feels wrong.
I feel like you should be able to void a deal after that.
I would absolutely think you should void that deal, knowing, that the fact that the guy wasn't on your, playing for your team, and you possibly had it's like insider trading, kind of. You knew this deal was going to be bad. You knew the guy wasn't going to play, but you still trade him to get that pick. Granted, they got a 6th-round pick, and traded a 7th, but still, yeah, it was the Eagles got bamboozled in the deal,
Yeah, I mean there's just something that seems off on that deal. But they get Michael Carter the third, one of those, one of the numbers after. Who's playing a little who's playing a little bit of your slot corner at this point. That way they could have Coop and Quignon on the outside.
Yeah.
But I think the big coup of maybe the entire NFL trade deadline is the Jaelan Phillips acquisition, who I think we were sending videos back and forth right before, when that deal went down about like him with his cats and putting like scarves on his cats, how excited he was to be an Eagle. And it's translated on the field. I mean, his best year he had, and it was only about a half a season, was 2 years ago under Vic Fangio, where I think he had like whatever it was, like 6.5 sacks in 5 games, or whatever it was, 7.5 sacks in 6 games. I don't know the exact number, but he comes here. He's familiar with the coordinator. He's next to some animals.
Yes.
We talk about Jordan Davis, Jalen Carter, and I don't know if you felt this way, Brian. We saw flashes for Jalen Hunt, kind of coming into the season.
Yeah.
And it does feel like since the acquisition of Jaelan Phillips, we've seen the elevation of play from Jalen Hunt.
Yeah.
So I want to get your thoughts on this. How do you grade the moves as a whole? I'm kind of taking Jair Alexander out of this because I don't know what the backstory is.
Yeah.
So you look at Michael Carter, the second or third. I'll have to look it up. And then we'll just say Michael Carter. Looking at Michael Carter, you're looking at the acquisition of Jaelan Phillips. How do you feel a couple weeks in of these guys being on the field?
I'm excited for for Phillips. I always liked him down in Miami. I liked his attitude, even though when he
Same.
saw Jalen, he did the Eagles thing. Now he can actually do it in an Eagles uniform. But like I said, you put him in that situation, other people are going to feed off his energy. I think there might have been a moment where the defense could have been like, oh my God, here we go. We're getting back on the field again. The offense is going 3 and out again. Here we go again. But you bring in a guy who just came in from one of the worst football teams to a winning situation. And I think that the defense feeds off his enthusiasm of wanting to get out there and play for a winning organization with, a defensive coordinator he knows and respects. Now people go, well, he's a rental, but who knows, man? He could try to get paid next year, or he could try to find a comfortable middle ground and stay with a coach that knows how to use him. So hopefully he's still around hopefully they can find a way to keep him next year. But I understand there's a lot of mouths you got to feed, with contracts coming up. But out of everything they did, by the trade deadline, Phillips is my all-time favorite move they did. So
It's a brilliant move too, Brian, because of the compensation pick aspect of all of it.
yeah,
With him performing at the level that he is, like the Eagles gave up a third round pick, which by the way wasn't even like their best third round pick they had. So
yeah.
if
I don't
he's
think it wasn't even their own, right?
no, they did trade their own. They kept
Oh,
the
okay.
Jets pick, which is going to be a higher pick,
Yes. Okay.
which was smart. But now you look at it. So what happens? And this is what's crazy about the NFL. Like this is why it's so smart. It is a rental player for nothing because you either have the option, as you said, to keep him, or if he does sign elsewhere, you get a third round compensation pick back. You get the same round back.
Yeah.
Now, whether it's 15 picks up or down or whatever, that to me it's irrelevant. You're still getting back into that round. Then you gave up, 15 draft slots to get him, and you know what I mean, to rent him for a stretch run. Not a bad deal, and I
And
think that's what's so
you still
brilliant
have
about
that. Granted, you still have that Jets pick, which is a higher pick. So
it. Yeah, it's just brilliant. Like they're still coming into next year with more draft capital that they can either take or move.
yeah,
And I think that it's crazy. I taking the Jair Alexander because I don't know the story until the
yeah. You
story
don't.
comes out.
I'm a big. What's the word? I'm a big supporter of mental health, and if he's having a mental health issue, then my thoughts go out to him. I know, you know, growing up, I've had my own issues, and I know people who've succumbed to their issues. So I'll never doubt, a person who wants to better themselves. But it's just the fact that Baltimore knew this and they still traded him,
Hmm.
knowing he wasn't going to play, which is kind of where I'm like, come on, man.
Yeah. And I appreciate everybody who's over here on the tube. Apparently, our Facebook stream dropped. No big deal. We're still live on YouTube and X, Twitter, whatever you call it. Make sure you guys are in here. Please continue to comments. They're flying. Like, subscribe, all
Yeah.
that good stuff. There's Big Dad. He wants to chime in here and say, "What's up? We love you, Dad."
What's
Tom
up?
Arnone is saying hello. Greg says, last thing on the lane replacement. Granted, they were late round undrafted, but the Eagles did draft sign 2 right tackles at the end of the draft for Michigan. They're not high profile and high rounds. That's. I mean, it's good. Listen, it's all about development with this organization. We saw what Jordan Mailata was able to come from as a 7th round. Stoutland University. So it is definitely worth mentioning. Greg, and he says was good on Carter until he picked Q in Dallas. Jack White. Is Simmons an option with our safety injury rental also? Nobody has Simmons
It's
this year.
amazing nobody's picked that guy up.
Yeah, it's crazy.
What? How does that happen?
There has to be something there. Jack Dwight, 1924. Thank you so much for the super chat. Says I think Jair was given drug test notice and knew he would fail. Ditto, Zadarius Smith. Interesting. I mean, obviously that's a lot of rumor and innuendo. We're not. What's our old pal Bruce Pritchard say? We don't deal
Yes.
in rumor and innuendo.
Yes.
But who knows? Who knows? It's not something that's off the table. But thank you so much for contributing that, Jack Dwight. We appreciate you. Keep the comments coming, brother. Jackson makes you wonder if something is there. It's true. It's very, very possible. But again, I don't want to get into that kind of stuff. He's been available on an option since the offseason, and they haven't signed him yet. Yeah, there's something there. I don't know what it is that nobody's picking him up, including Vic, because I feel like at this point you could have him for nothing.
Right. And
Kind
you pick up now. I mean, you're not giving up a draft pick or anything, and the compensation will be prorated. So,
Yeah.
I mean, He's going to make it's him making something's better than making nothing, sitting at home, watching on TV.
1,000%. It's just wild to me. Dynasty says same reason Eric Kendricks just got signed this week to San Francisco. Had 100+ tackles for Dallas last year. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I guess it's a name to keep an eye on. But let's dive in here. Kind of already jumped into Dallas. I'm gonna say it though before we dive into our little preview here or predictions for the Eagles and Chargers. I am not writing Dallas off yet. I hate to say that. It hurts me. But until I see something, because Brian, I've never seen a team in my life that like hits 21 points and it's like they think you're not allowed to score anymore. Like they just a number of games this year they rushed to like 21 points and they just completely stopped scoring. It is so bizarre to me.
It is. It is. It's like I think it's to the point where they know they can't run the ball. For some reason with that offensive line, they can't run the ball. So they, get to 21 passing. Defenses know they're going to keep passing and they just play for the pass. It's just knowing that, and you can say Saquon is having an off year, but he's getting tackled in the backfield. They're getting through the offensive line and he's getting tackled for negative yards. I mean, it's one thing to say, yeah, has there been opportunities where he's missed the hole? Sure. But there's times where the ball's not even out of Jalen's hands and he's getting tackled. It's like, my goodness, just maybe start doing some play action passes where, the play where they think they're going to, hand off to Saquon, keep the ball and pass it off. I don't know it's frustrating. It's frustrating.
It is beyond frustrating. But again, we come into this week now. I think the one benefit the Eagles do have is a very favorable schedule down the back end where, you looked at this game and I think you looked at the Buffalo Bills game and you said, okay, there's two really tough games that could be an issue, but they're both winnable. But the rest, they should run the table. And they may have, again, I hate to put it this way, but the reality is the reality. They may have caught a break because of Justin Herbert fracturing his hand.
Yeah.
So it seems like he's going to be out at least this week. I guess I haven't seen any update on it. But we're looking at this. Is it a must-win, Brian? Who wins this game? And do we see this? Does your gut tell you that this week with extra preparation time, right? Because they played Friday, now they don't play until Monday night. This is a Monday night football game.
Like a mini bye.
It's like another mini bye, which despite them having a difficult schedule this season, it feels like they've gotten a few mini buys in this schedule along with their actual bye. Is this the time where they figure something out and they come out and we get I want to say a no doubt win, but we feel good about the team coming out of a victory after this game?
I think
is your gut telling you they're going to get it figured out in this time?
I think they're going to win it because they have a really good road record. For some reason, they always seem to play well in LA. So, I mean, it's in LA, right?
It is in LA.
Yeah. They're
so far.
They've had the goofiest schedule too, where every other week, so they haven't had consecutive home games. It's just the schedule's been weird. Everything's just been weird about the season. But that's why I had to ask. I was like, they're on the road, right? So they're on the road. They're in LA. Herbert, broken hand. I think they have no choice but to come out and play inspired ball. Especially if they go into this game. If Dallas loses against, Detroit, and they go, all right, we have a chance to put this bad boy to bed. They come out and play inspired ball, and hopefully they've listened to somebody and gone in and said, hey, let's figure this out. Let's
Mhm.
let's open up every single play we have and throw out what doesn't work, and let's start doing some tempo. Let's start doing something different. Whatever we're doing is not working. It's predictable. you know but if they could do that and they go to that game seeing a Dallas loss with a chance to gain ground in the East, I think they come out and play an inspired ball.
Yeah, and listen, because I feel like they have to, and I do feel like at the end of the day, there's a lot of professionals in that room.
Yeah.
And despite what we feel like we've seen this season, I think you got guys who want to win. AJ can't say he's not getting the football now. Last 2 weeks, the ball's been in his hands quite a bit.
Yeah.
They've tried to find Devontae, and I think that despite Jalen missing some guys last week, I think he missed Dallas on one or two plays that could have been really beneficial for them.
Yeah, I'm sorry. There was that one play. Dallas was wide open, but if he hits Devontae in stride, it's
Mm-hmm.
also a touchdown too. So, there's just been like 1-2 timing issues.
Yeah, I do feel like I have to feel good about them coming out of this one. So I am going to predict a Birds win. And honestly, if Herbert can't go, which it sounds like, we're talking about Trey Lance here, which nobody knows what the hell Trey Lance is still to this point.
Sounds like a 1980s discontinued car. What are you driving? I'm driving a 1982 Trey Lance.
I'm driving a turbo style.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't see it happening. So we'll see. We'll see what happens with the Birds. And I did confirm they're up a game and a half. So there is something to worry about if they lose and Cowboys win. I got Birds winning this game. I'm gonna say they don't score 30 points. They haven't scored 30 points all season. I'm gonna give a score prediction of 26 to, I hate giving like common scores, but I'm gonna say 13. I generally like to throw an oddball number like 29 or something.
Yeah. It was that a touchdown with 2 field goals.
Yeah, I think that's about where we'll get to with the Chargers. That's if Justin Herbert's not playing. They got a lot of weapons on that team. Keenan Allen,
Yeah.
a lot of these boys. I think the Eagles have a pretty decent. They have a good stretch. When you're talking about teams like the Raiders and some of these teams down the stretch, the benefit of that, we talk about this all the time, Brian, is when you're not playing well and you should win. The benefit is these are confidence games.
Yeah.
Yes, you should defeat these teams. But at the end of the day, it's an NFL team on your schedule. And if you have ability to work on things and build a confidence and figure out a rhythm getting into the playoffs, especially because they end the season with Buffalo, I want that game to mean nothing. I don't want to have to worry about Josh Allen, who is one of the best players on the planet, even though he's struggling this year. I don't want to worry about them in a must win for them because they're scuffling at this point.
Yeah.
I'll put it this way. I don't expect them to be able to sit Josh Allen in that game because they're going to be, forget the division. They might be fighting just for a playoff spot. They are right in the mix. It is very possible this year that you might have the playoffs without Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, and Lamar Jackson. That is crazy to think about.
Yeah.
And Joe Burrow.
Yeah.
So, yeah, go.
And it's something I wanted to say earlier, and it just came back into my brain. The Dallas loss sucked, but I said to myself, I said, that's what happens when you play division rivals. You play a team the second time around, They might have a better idea where you're coming from, what you're doing. There's a lot of stupid penalties in that game. I mean, Nakobe Dean had an interception called back because there was too many men on the field. Yeah, little stupid things that you can clean up with, not doing as many penalties. The Chicago, I also came out of the Cowboys game going, maybe this is a necessary loss where, you can't really correct things when you're winning. You're gonna walk into a locker room after a win and go, all right, guys, this is what we got to do. We got to get back. You don't want to disrupt the apple cart, as they say. As they said back in my day. Now the Chicago loss is like, oh man, okay, this loss sucks. But
I felt like that one hurt more than the Dallas game. I'll be honest, and I never thought I would say that.
The Cowboys one, I almost kind of expected because, like I said, you play a team 2 times a year. The Giants beat us in our first meeting, and then we figured them out in the second meeting, and beat them, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which, I mean, we still got to play Washington twice, so who knows what. Hopefully, they get both those games and don't split. But yeah, the Chicago loss really, really got me, But then again, they're not scrubs. They're 8-3.
9-3.
They're 9. I'm sorry, 9-3. I'm
Yeah,
still
they
not
just passed us for number 2 in the conference.
right. And then we caught a break with the Rams losing last night. So
Rams look terrible this week.
yeah, if they continue to shit the bed, maybe we, at least get the second seed. So
I mean, I feel like getting a home game is very important for this team at this point in the playoffs.
yeah, I at least want to try to, so yeah, those are the points I wanted to make. The Bears loss really kind of bummed me, and thank God I was already drunk when they lost. So it just
Yeah, that was rough.
went down to the Jason Kelsey tailgate and had a couple daddy sodas. So
tell us about that, by the way. It looked amazing.
yeah, before the Bears game, went down to the link. I have a friend, Andrew Goldstein, who works for Jason Kelsey's podcast. Andrew worked for WWE. He's done a bunch of stuff in TV. Last time we worked together, we did the roast of the Iron Sheik in New York.
Nice.
And he's like, "Hey, man, we're doing the Jason. New Heights is doing the podcast down there down at the link. You want to come?" I was like, "Yeah." He's like, "Well, we might be having a belly bucking competition. Mind if I throw your hat in there?" I was like, "Well, maybe as a special guest referee, maybe." I was like, "It's like, all right." So it looked like the belly bucking competition was off, but then it wasn't, or whatever. So anyway, I get down there. He brings us into the VIP area, and we just hang out, mingle, and then Jason comes along, and Jason's a sweetheart of a man. We talked for a couple seconds. I don't want to be that guy. Hey, I know you got a show to run, but let's have a conversation. Tapped each other up a little bit, and then watched him. I swear, Jason Kelsey could have been a professional wrestler, bro. Just,
100%.
Yeah, he was going over to the belly bucking contest with the guys. I was like, look at him calling spots, just, But there's another moment he walked around, and my buddy Andrew was like, hey, can we get a photo together for, social media? And took a photo with Jason. I just, dapped him up again. I was like, hey, man, thank you for everything you did. I said, I love you, and thank you for everything you've done. And he gave me a little wink and continued on to do what he had to do. But the moment of the podcast, being a professional wrestler, you learn to listen to a crowd, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm sitting there, and I just hear out of my left ear, I hear, ooh, oh, whoa, 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 whoa. I look over, and Jason Kelsey is walking Jeffrey Lurie into the podcast area. I'm like, check this out. And Jeffrey Lurie comes over. He's got his crew. There's NFL films, cameras following him, and all this stuff. And Jason interviews him. I got within like 5 feet of him, which is kind of cool to check it out. I've never been that close to. I've never been in the proximity of Jeffrey Lurie. Anything more than him being in the box and me and being in the stand. So to stand there and to see the great Jeffrey Lurie talk to Jason Kelsey for a little bit, and then they went about their day. But it was great. We went to that, and then we went over to McCusker's and watched the game, and had a good time. Oh, we also went over to my buddies at 4th of July, but then we went to McCusker's and proceeded to have a what the fuck fest.
Yeah. Sounds like a fun day other than the actual football game.
Yeah, and then unfortunately the game had to start, and
just threw the wrench into the whole goddamn thing.
Yeah.
Oh man, that sounds like a really great time. I one time was in an elevator to Phillies game with Jeffrey Lurie.
Nice.
I got in and I looked. I just wasn't even paying attention. I was like on my phone. Start walking in the elevator and I look up and it's him and his wife right there. And I was like, "Oh, hi, Mr. Lurie," and he was very nice. He gave me a quick handshake, and I didn't even say, "Can we get a?" I just said to him, "Probably as big of a Birds fan as you'll find, but I'm sure everybody tells you that. But anyway, thank you for everything that you do." And he was very nice, gave me a nice smile, and said, "Thank you so much for all the support. Hope we make you proud." That's what I got from him.
That's perfect.
Yeah, it was a perfect exchange. I'll never forget it. He's an extremely nice guy.
No, Jeff, what you need to do is fire Kevin Patullo. No, I'm just kidding.
Come on, Jeff, fire Patullo. What are you doing? What's Howie doing? Where's Howie at? I need to talk.
Yo, guys. I played in high school. I could call plays.
I was junior varsity. Junior varsity. This was good stuff, Brian.
I honestly would have played football, but I was allergic to grass.
Really?
Yeah, I tried out for the football team, and I was allergic to the field.
That's fascinating. I never knew that.
Yeah, went out for the high school football team my freshman year. Couldn't breathe just because being around grass. It sucked, man. It was heartbreaking, but wrestling was my calling. So,
yeah. Ooh. That's our last comment here. I'm just going to say it.
Yeah.
Caden's mama. Hi, guys. I haven't commented in a few years, but I've watched streams off and on. I hope my boys eat on Thursday, and it appears it's really up for grabs this year. Caden's mama. A couple of years. Thank you for coming back. Still have lots of great stuff here. So, you haven't been back for a couple of years. Doors always open. We welcome you back. We thank you for dropping in and contributing a comment that we hope they feast this week too.
Yeah.
And make sure you come back and see us because we got shows all throughout the week, and also a lot of fun, Brian, as always. We got Don said the same thing. Don, your boys better do something. You better help us out this week, Don, or else I'm suspending you from our chat for one day because he's in every show and every chat. I can't suspend him all the time. There you go. Greg already opened the door. So you'll be if they don't help us out, I'm suspending you next Tuesday from our lazy booking chat. Good stuff. But yeah, no, this was great. Thank you again, Brian, for coming on. Hopefully we can get another one in maybe towards the end. Maybe we'll do like a playoff preview. Since
this was a good therapy session.
It is. We needed it. We thought we'd be coming on and saying, "Oh my God, we're ready to clinch the division" when we set this up a couple of weeks ago. Boy, did it change, but you know what? We needed to have a conversation and talk about
it. Sometimes you have to be a little bit. Sometimes you gotta get a little uncomfortable. So when, if we do, when we go into clinch the East, we'll be that more excited for it.
Yeah, absolutely. Let me get some of these off.
These are false finishes, as we say in professional wrestling.
That's it. We're just dropping in. We're dropping in false finishes with you. Obviously, we know this.
Take it home.
We know this. Mind of Meanie. It's one of our favorite podcasts out there.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Make sure you guys find Brian. Mind of Meanie. They talk about wrestling and all kinds of pop culture, sports, and everything else.
We're wrestling adjacent.
Wrestling adjacent. It's him and Adam Barnard. And
Sure.
when do you drop your show?
Mine at Amini drops every Monday where you get your favorite podcasts. We also have a Patreon at patreon.com/mine at Amini. The show came out today. So, if you enjoyed what me and you talked about, we talk about a little bit of everything. We talk about movie, music, sports, tons of useless knowledge,
It's
all
so
wrapped
much
up.
fun.
Yeah, it's podcasting is an interesting venture, and I don't know how those people are dedicated to reviewing every Raw, every AEW, every pay-per-view. I just want to go on there and go, hey man, what's up? Let's talk about what the first things that come to our mind is. It's like you're eavesdropping on a conversation between two friends. It's like a car ride,
Yeah.
You're
Oh,
you're sitting in the back seat of two guys, bullshitting,
100%. And like, particularly with this show, right? Like, we like to talk birds every now and then. You're a birds talker. So we get you to come on, every 5-6 weeks and talk some birds with us. Um, wasn't intending it this way, but cheap plug for our adjacent YouTube page, which we're doing a lot of work on to bring some extra content for Lazy Booking. But it's a lot of it is what you're talking about. Like, it's a lot to try to cover everything, and we just can't.
Yeah.
So our primary show and our interview shows and our time with you, we always have here. It stays here on A2D Radio, but we're doing additional content, on our Facebook and our YouTube for Lazy Booking Podcast TV. So, but it's like you said, we want to be able to kind of step outside the box a little bit and do some different stuff. That there's not really a rhyme or reason of why we're doing it. We're just going to do it because it's fun. And that's kind of the place where we can do what you're talking about. And that's what I love about your show, Brian, because you guys just, it's like one topic leads into another, but it's like a crazy interweb that works. And obviously you and Adam have a fantastic chemistry that it's a fun show to listen to.
Yeah, it's insane. We've been doing it for 5 years now. So it's like, who there's a moment in my life where somebody hit the fast forward button, and I'm trying to figure out, because it's December 1st. It was like, it felt like yesterday was July.
I know. Me and
It's
Christina are
crazy.
like 2 years away from, or we're just like coming up to the 2-year mark, which is crazy to me as well. But it's time flies when you're having fun.
Absolutely.
So
Good
make sure we find you in there. And also, are you still doing Podstars?
Podstars.net. If you would like to add the Blue Me on your podcast, go to podstars.net. That's podstrz.net. Register your podcast, book the Blue Guy. We have a conversation. Also, I'm on, if you would like a t-shirt, the BWO t-shirt, or this Channel 48 shirt that I'm wearing right now.
Tremendous shirt.
Yeah,
For all you old school wrestling fans, you know exactly what that shirt is.
of pro wrestling, kung fu theater,
Kung Fu Theater, right?
Yeah, the Creature to the Black Lagoon, where they give you out the free 3D glasses back in the day. ProWrestlingTees.com/Blue Meanie. Get yourself a t-shirt. I got so many shirts. And I got a lot of Philly sports themed shirts on there as well. So
Yeah, it's a lot of really cool stuff. So make sure you guys check them out. Find Meanie on all that. Also, for ourselves, we're gonna have our regular show at some point tomorrow. I don't know if it's gonna be early at like 5 o'clock or if we're gonna do later in the evening. Stay tuned for that. If you set your alerts on A2D Radio, you're gonna know it's coming up anyway. So make sure you guys pay attention to that. But also for next week and the following week, we've been telling you guys about this, and we just want to pop it back on again. We have Vince Russo joining us as a co-host for 2 weeks to talk everything John Cena's final run here. He's going to help us to preview the Saturday night's main event. We're going to look back and talk about. He's very vocal about this, so this is going to be an interesting conversation. And then he's going to join us on the 16th to talk about how everything played out, where John Cena ranks all time. Maybe we'll talk about a couple of other interesting topics. But I mean, he was just, yeah.
if I may, and if you can play this for Vince. Vince
Yeah.
Russo is the reason I got hired in WWE when WWE was looking for more talent. They were expanding their TV programming with like Sunday Night Heat, and they needed more talent. And Vince Russo reached out to me through Al Snow about getting hired in WWE. So thanks to Vince Russo, I got to have a really good career. And not only that, I got to support my loved ones, and that's all because thanks to Vince Russo. So when you have Vinny Rue on, tell him Blue Meanie says hello.
I will. I will clip this video and I will show this to him. Because and that's I will tell you, Brian, too. Since this show has come back, we drop a lot of different clips and contents and things from the show. One of the most interacted with videos that we had was you telling the story about telling your family, your mother and your grandmother, that you were signed by WWE. So
Vince Russo hired me for WWE. Bruce Pritchard called me, and after I hung up the phone with Bruce Pritchard and realized I was hired by WWE, I walked 20 feet into the living room. And I told my mom and grandmom to put all the bills in my name because they had been supporting me up until that point, and that was my time to give back to them. So I couldn't have done that if Vince Russo didn't think to give me a job. So I'm a big lover of Vinny Russo. So I hope all is well, Vinny.
Yes, we will share this with him. I'm actually very excited too. So good on him, man, because he helped to bring the Blue Meanie to a bigger scale of the world, and we're all better for it. We appreciate you, Brian. I hope you and your lovely wife had a fantastic Thanksgiving.
Yes, still digesting.
Oh, dude, me too. Please tell Mrs. Meanie I said hello. Christina says hello.
Awesome.
And and everybody at A2D Radio, guys, a lot of interaction today. Thank you guys for the comments. And last one here. I just want to make sure we put these last two up here. Make sure you guys find us again. This is where you can find us on the YouTube page, Lazy Booking Pod TV. And as well, make sure you guys are looking for A2D Radio and Lazy Booking Podcast on Instagram. For myself, for Brian, and everybody, go Birds. God, please, can we get a win this week? I'm begging. Oh, let's get a win, Brian, please.
Go Birds.
Go Birds. For myself and Brian, Tom, and everybody at A2D Radio, we love you guys. Go Birds. Have a great